Welcome into the Dad Verb podcast. Topics around parenting from the lens of a dad.
Pokemon.
Really?
I got Pokemon in there. I haven't had a Pokemon insert in a while, guys, but Pokemon is somewhat relevant to today's topic. There it is. We're going to be talking about TV shows, guys. Ratings. What is our approach to letting our kids watch certain shows? Maybe even kind of chime in with some good show recommendations for the end there. But I kind of wanted to kick it off with starting off with ratings, right? So I feel like, movies that were, rated R back then are now kind of like just PG-13 now. Do you get that vibe, or am I off base with that?
Top Gun was rated R when it was released, and they removed the sex scene and they made it a PG film.
Right down to PG, huh?
Yeah.
So I mean, that. It's really interesting the way ratings have come, have evolved, and its implications on us as parents and kids, right? So if you're not aware, right, you've got ratings for movies, you've got ratings for TV, right? Movies,
video games,
and video games, E for everyone, T for teen, right? So with movies, though, I kind of have a little list here just to kind of give you an idea of kind of what the actual ratings are. So when it comes to ratings for movies, we're very familiar with G, PG, PG-13, and ratings that we've kind of grown accustomed to there. Are you guys familiar with how they actually get those ratings?
Yeah, there's a board and they have a structured set of rules. So you're allowed to curse once in a PG-13 film, but once you've cursed twice, then it's R, and blah, blah, blah. And you're allowed to show butts in PG-13 movies, but you're not allowed to show any side boob. There's a committee and they rank you
very
based on your
specific
screen.
set of rules.
Yeah.
Correct. It's like a group of parents, and they have basically,
and it's completely arbitrary. That's the other.
It is. Yeah, offside little random tangent. Have you guys seen Deadpool Wolverine a while back when it came out?
Not yet.
No spoilers.
Oh, it's fantastic. We're not going to do any spoilers, but apparently Disney has, across kind of their MCU movies, I don't know how true it is, but there's been 119 F-bombs. 118 of them have come from Deadpool. So
that's fine.
Awesome.
Disney,
I'm okay with
they went all out with Wolverine. I'm excited for what's to come with the MCU and how it's amazing, guys. Anyway, but
this is a thing we never talk about, right? Look, I can't take 3 hours out of my day to go sit in a movie theater and watch Deadpool versus Wolverine and leave my wife with a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old and being peace, I'm going to go enjoy this.
I honestly, I'm so glad at the stage of life that we're in, I was able to find my dad's squad, went out, and wife stayed home with the kids. It was a much needed break. But my kids are very obsessed with the concept of Deadpool, right? It is a hard R. They will never watch it for the longest time. But I wanted to ask you guys, okay, when it comes to ratings, and that was movies, right? When it comes to television, right? Just to kind of give you an idea, you've got TVY, that's all children, shows like Sesame Street, Blue's Clues. Y7, shows like Pokemon, Ninja Turtles, right? Shows may contain mild fantasy violence, comedic violence, usually in animated form, may involve complex themes more suitable for children that can distinguish between make-believe and reality. You've got G, right? Suitable for all audiences. PG, parental guidance suggested, shows like The Simpsons, Friends. TV 14, so now we're getting older, shows like Stranger Things, Grey's Anatomy, and an MA, shows like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, good stuff. A little bit of nipple here and there. So, okay. The first question that I want to ask you guys before we kind of start getting to shows that we kind of think would be good for, are good for our kids is, you got a 5-year-old. Are you stringent in your approach? No, you will not watch Y7 shows until you are ready, right? Or are you a little bit more lax? You're kind of like, I think it's fine. I don't think it's going to be damaging to our kids. Because one thing that I've kind of heard in kind of the discourse in the parenting world are very wild takes on either side of parents shaming others. Like, you would dare let your kids be corrupted by that, fighting and Ninja Turtle stuff at that young age at 4? Really? They're not ready for that. and you're setting them up for failure, you know. And I've seen that, but on the other hand, I've seen others who are like, it's a show, right? So where do you guys stand on that? Ben, let's start with you.
So I mean, I think it depends on the kid, right? It depends on the kid. It depends on your household. If you have a kid that has difficulty telling fantasy from reality, then yeah, showing them Power Rangers or, you know, Ninja Turtles or Spider-Man or whatever, probably not a great idea. If you have a kid that understands that this is not the real world, you know, then I think it's fine. But I think it's the parent's call. So like the way we approach it is when our kid comes to us and says they want to watch a show because one of their friends talks about it, whether it's like Spidey and His Amazing Friends or Paw Patrol or PJ Masks or any of these shows, right? Like these kind of action-y type, like very colorful, very like fast moving shows. The first thing we do is you say, okay, mom and dad are going to sit down and watch an episode with you because we want to see what it is, what happens, kind of what does the story look like. And then we take it from there, right? And decide whether or not this is something he can watch on his own or if it's something he needs to watch with us so that we can kind of explain what's happening. But we also share stuff with him like Star Wars. Like he's watched full Star Wars movies with me before, which has a lot that you need to explain to a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
But he can understand it. He enjoys it. And do I think it's damaging to him? Absolutely not, because a parent is also there engaged with him. It's not something he's just doing completely on his own with no supervision or explanation.
Right. Saunders?
So on my own, my kids watch Disney Channel garbage and Blippi, and I've seen way more Care Bears than I really ever want to see in my life. But when I'm sitting there, they watch whatever I watch. So they've seen
CSI.
CSI. They've watched episodes of Dexter. Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of what else. Like Game of Thrones. I mean,
if you're watching me on YouTube, I am.
yeah, Andrew's like just covering his face right now. But no, like actually, so this is funny. My 2-year-old was on my lap, and we watched the first episode of Black Sails because it got released on Netflix, which is a pirate drama featuring the Caribbean. And my wife was like, "I can't watch this; it's too bloody." And the 2-year-old's just like, "Pirates, okay." But I take a very nothing on the TV is real, right? And that's basically what I'm going to teach my kids, with the exception of maybe the news and the Olympics. Nothing that comes out of that box is real, and you should never accept it as such. And we talk about all the stuff, right? I mean, that's where I think the movie ratings are for the people who are going to be lazy with their kids, right? Or the TV ratings. Like, yep, parental controls. Okay. Yes, my daughter has a YouTube account. Yes, it's set up to YouTube Kids. Yes, she can't watch whatever she wants on there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when she's in control. But she's 2. She barely knows how to work the remote. I mean,
yeah.
That being
no, go ahead.
That being said, my buddy's got 5 kids from 13 to 5, and they were 2 when the youngest one was 2 when we started hanging out with them, and we were playing Diablo 3 and definitely games that were not rated for them. And the logic was, one, they don't understand. Like they don't conceptually understand angel demons hierarchy. Like it's just a cartoon that blows up and there's a red blob on the screen. Like, and 2, when they asked questions, we explained it to them as if they were adults, and they either moved on or they accepted it, and that was the end of the conversation, right? And I don't know. It's we're not trying to protect them. Does that make sense?
So for me, the way I kind of grew up was my dad. I don't know. My parents were divorced, and my dad treated me like his best friend, honestly. So when it came to shows, like nothing was off limits. Like I was watching rated R movies ever since I was a kid. You know, remember there was a show, there was a movie. Oh gosh, I think it's called Analyze This.
Yeah.
And it was a rated R movie. I remember being there with my dad. He just wanted to see it, and he brought me along. There's a comedy special, John Leguizamo, called Freak. It was a great comedy special. I remember being a kid. I was 10, younger. I was the only kid in there. So from that point of view, I was like, it didn't seem to have an effect on me. But the way I parent my kids, and thinking about that, it's like even though it's like, yes, whatever comes out the box is fake, I just don't think that they're developmentally ready to be able to distinguish that yet, right? So that's why we also kind of put those limits and those safeguards. Now, do we have the, oh, it's Y7, it's PG-13. You're not going to be able to watch until you hit those numbers, right? No, I don't think we're gonna, we're there. Our kids are watching Ninja Turtles here and there, so that's kind of where we are at. We think the ratings are there as a good guideline, but we don't follow it as stringently as maybe some others that I've seen on social media pop off about. That's what's up.
I really think they exist to enable the technology at this point. They don't exist to protect anyone, right? Like,
no.
I really think they truly exist to enable you to set up parental modes and kind of give up that control of your childhood. And the thing that I always try and remember about this is if you ever travel to France or several other European nations, right? Public access cable has nudity and what we would refer to as softcore adult films as clickable, like ESPN, adult content, Cartoon Network, right? And they're just in the channel lineup. And in my opinion, I think sexual identity and sexualism is less stigmatized there because of the prevalence of it in the culture. And I think if we keep heading down this rabbit hole where some arbitrary board has to determine what's appropriate for my kids to see, and if I choose to follow their guidelines, I'm a good citizen, and if I choose to not do it, I'm a bad citizen, like it's ridiculous, right?
Sexuality, sex, porn. At what age do you think we need to start having those conversations with our kiddos?
8.
What do you think?
Early.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
just after kindergarten.
Yeah, like our 4-year-old asked me the other day on the way to school how a baby got in mommy's belly, right? Like that's a question. They know,
we're going to be talking about that on the next episode. Yeah, but
kids understand far more than we give them credit for.
Yeah,
and I think it's up to us as parents to set those boundaries. What do we think is okay and what do we think is not, based on the maturity and the sort of ability to cope of your kid. And second of all, it's up to us to use the right terminology, explain things in an understandable way, what the reality of life is. Because like you said, I mean, it's like teens and drinking, right? Like, so everybody knows a kid that went off to college, and as soon as they got into college, they went absolutely crazy, ended up, drinking every night, flunk out because they couldn't handle the freedom of being away because they were never exposed to it.
Exactly.
Right. And kids are the same way. So am I just going to let my kid watch whatever show without any supervision? Absolutely not. I want to see what that show is. I am less concerned about the content of the show than I am like the physiological effects of the show, right? So like shows that have a lot of fast moving, bright colors, a lot of contrast, a lot of like crazy music, you can see that your kids have a different behavior after the fact, right? It's hard for them to not watch that show or to not just go right to the next episode. And so we watch certain shows at certain times. Like we won't watch Ninja Turtles as soon as he wakes up from bed, as soon as he wakes up in the morning, because he'll just be absolutely off the walls for the entire day. He's going to watch something like, Little Bear or Tumbleleaf or something kind of slow and muted and easy for him to wake up to if he does want to watch a show.
Yeah.
So it's knowing what content your kids are watching and being okay with having conversations that might feel uncomfortable to you, but are very matter of fact to your kids.
You know what?
Right.
You know what?
Well,
and it's an odd problem that we had, but with Henry for a while, he would wake up and there was a time where he really like demanded a show, and what really sent them off the rails with that, and it just emotionally charged him, and we like couldn't bring him down. Oddly enough, with Sports Center, he would want to watch very specific highlights of like the Packers 49ers, and when it wouldn't show him that, he really wanted that one. And I was like, I'm sorry, they're talking about the basketball stuff right now. We gotta wait. And he gets so pissed off, and he really, and he wanted to know the specific score and specific play and all that. So I remember that was a turning point for us to be like, you will not watch any sort of show in the morning until a certain time now. And of all things, it wasn't a crazy, it was
Center.
Sports Center.
Sports Center.
We had to have that talk with them. Just as a random tangent. I remember when I was a kid, I had my cousins came over. And my dad had like all the channels, right? I think it was called like a hot box or something like that. And on channel 69, there was the Spice Channel, which was the naughty porno channel. Yep. But it was like fuzzed out, right? It was kind of like staticky, and so we would like sit there. Like my cousins would wake me up, and we'd be like, "Oh, let's turn on the Spice Channel." So that we turn it on.
I think I saw a nipple.
There it is. We're just sitting there. And, that's a nipple. That's a nipple. And I remember like late night, I think it was like on HBO, there would be like these ads for like sex phone calls. And I think the number was 1-800-WET-BUTT. 1-800-WET-BUTT. And you could have like calls.
And okay, as adults, we're laughing about this stuff.
We're okay.
Right? But can you, contextually speaking, right? If it was just, I'm not saying available, but if it was just part of your growing up, it wouldn't be a surprise to you and it wouldn't be unique.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
your kids were doing what I was doing. You going to get pissed?
No.
It's kind of learning.
Because I'm going to treat it the same way as I treat alcohol, right? Like, okay, you want to taste wine? It's gross, right? Yeah, probably shouldn't drink that anymore. Have a nice trip, right? And at some point they will make their own decisions, but I would rather, if they're going to have the reaction, they have the reaction with me, then they have the reaction around a bunch of their peers, unsupervised, and it's the first time, I don't know, they see a severed head, right? Because they're watching some horror film that they shouldn't be watching. And if your kid's like, okay. I mean,
I know it's not real, right?
Yeah, they know it's not real. Like, and I think that's important, like to truly grasp that there's news and there's information and there's nonfiction on TV, but there's also a ton of fiction, and we are very good as a society at blurring the lines between what is fake and what is real on the TV. Right. And frankly, Friends did a whole episode about it, about the crazy Joey stalker who thought he was a real doctor. And right. Yeah. Like this woman stalked him for like 2 or 3 episodes. And I think that illustrates like what happens if you don't expose people to the realities of this form of entertainment early on. Right.
Yeah.
In books, it's really easy because it's fake. It's fake. It's written on a page. You're reading it. Right. But the visual television part makes it harder, and as soon as they master smell-o-vision, it's going to get even worse.
I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Anyone who's listening or watching on YouTube, like, chime in here. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I'm actually really curious, like, kind of your approach, your takes on this topic. But to kind of round things out, want to toss out some good suggestions for your littles if you are just looking for like good shows beyond Cocomelon, which is actually not that
I
great.
hate Cocomelon.
We have
never watched Cocomelon, not a single episode in our house ever.
I think
and it will
Blippi,
not happen.
Cocomelon, nah. So
Okay.
what you're gonna defend Blippi? You're gonna defend Blippi?
I've got to. I'll defend Blippi. I actually think it's kind of entertaining. But
Is it? Go ahead.
my cousin has a master's degree in early childhood education.
Yep.
She turns on Cocomelon for her kids as the distraction, and I about lose my mind. I'm like, you're the one who's supposed to be educated in this. What are you doing? Like, this is garbage television, even for toddlers. Like,
Miss
the
Rachel
thing I
is
like about
actually
Bluey.
good. What do you guys think of Miss Rachel?
I've never watched one.
We haven't done that in our house, but in looking at how she does things and why she does them, she can explain why she speaks the way she does, right? Why she kind of speaks in like this sing-songy tone. It's actually a developmental technique.
It is. It is.
So it makes sense. Like the way she has her show set up and the way she does things, I think are great. It's still pretty kind of lo-fi, semi low budget kind of YouTube show, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's putting out content that's generally regarded as pretty good for kids in terms of like development and human interaction. So we don't really watch it, but it seems to be good.
You know what I like about, you were saying Blippi, right?
Yeah.
And I've watched several of them at this point. I like the fact that he actually tries to teach kids how to play.
Okay.
Like he is attempting to model how you would effectively play with trucks or stuff at a science center or a farm, right? Like, I'm not saying I'm enjoying the fact that he's dancing around or running like a fool, but he does model like, this is how you play with cars on a ramp. This is how you play with a train on the train set, right?
Right.
And he's not whirling them around. And he actually has a co-star, Mika.
Yeah.
That
I'm familiar
they're two
with
separate
Mika.
creators, but they came together anyway.
Here's the thing.
They have healthy friend interactions that I think are good modeling behavior, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I'm sure that there's a better educational justification to say about Blippi, but I just don't like that. I just don't like him. He just freaks me out. I don't know. There's something about him. It's just like this weird like goofiness. I'm like, it's just, I don't know. I don't.
No, as an adult, he's creepy.
As a kid, though, I feel like there's
my 2-year-old loves him because she relates.
Interesting. I think other shows, though, that do score quite well when it comes to attention, not crazy flashing lights, language, creativity, Tumbleleaf, Trash Trucks.
It's a good one.
Daniel Tiger, Bluey, which is one that everyone is very familiar with. Miss Rachel scores highly. Number Blocks, Puffin Rock, and
I like Puffin Rock.
Another one that is it's Apple TV, maybe a little bit older, but very pleasant, very nice and easygoing, is called Stillwater.
Stillwater is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Have you guys watched Octonauts?
I've heard of Octonauts, never watched it. So I can't have an opinion on that.
Go dig through a couple episodes of Octonauts. I really enjoy them. They teach you about a sea creature every episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about teamwork. And they really don't have what I would call controversial moments, right? Like you go into like Paw Patrol and like they're like openly hostile for a part of the episode, or the what's the kid one where they're all, one's a cat,
Lucas
one's a
Spider?
dog,
one's
a
PJ Masks.
Is that PJ Masks?
Is it PJ
right?
Masks?
Gosh, I hate PJ Masks.
And PJ Masks, like I get it, it's
My son
entertaining.
is like
Yes,
just
they're
starting
solving
to
a
want to
problem.
watch that show.
So whiny, man.
But
But-
it's
so
not
whiny.
great.
Those kids are so entitled. They're like little brats, right?
Yeah.
And
that's
the
exactly
idea
it.
that every episode starts with you go to bed and then you become a superhero, like no. Anyway,
I think it's a fascinating topic. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this in the comment section, especially on YouTube. Really chime in. Want to hear your thoughts. To close things out, want to thank our sponsors, Huckberry, for hooking us up with some awesome apparel, awesome clothes, outfitting dads of all walks of life. Got amazing brands on that site. Wearing Huckberry right now. If you enjoy the fit, you can go check out exactly what we're wearing through the affiliate link in the show notes or the description of the YouTube video. And if you guys did want to join the dad community on our Discord, that'll be linked down there as well. It's always there every week. So if you guys would want to join in, find any support from a dad squad out there, similar stage of life as you, that's available.
Or you just want to judge me on my statements in this chat, I'm available on the Discord for harassment.
There it is too. Hey, that's the best part about this, man. We all have like different takes on things, and you know what? We're all raising good kids, man. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.